RockEyez would like to welcome Johnny Gioeli. Hey, man, what's up? What's going on?
Hey, man, not much, Brian. How you doing today?
Good, good, good. Where are you now?
Well, I'm an East Coast guy now. After 22 plus years in California, I decided to, kind of slow the pace down a little bit. So I'm in a beautiful town, a shoreline town in Connecticut.
Cool.
So I'm in the beautiful state of Connecticut. I love it, man. New England's awesome.
Wow. Yeah, I bet you the food's good there too, huh? Yeah.
It's nice, yeah. A lot of fresh, homegrown, stuff here. So
wow,
it's very, very good. Yeah, lots of stuff comes right out of the Long Island Sound.
Right.
So it's wonderful, man. I dig it.
How much different is that, Connecticut compared to when you lived, in New York and stuff like that? It has to be a big change.
It was a big change. So I started, I grew up in New York. I grew up in Howard Beach and Queens, and it's a different pace.
Right.
And then I turned 18 years old, and my brother Joe and I, we said, okay, we're going to California. We want to become rock stars, and we literally head out to California. I was 22 plus years in California, and made our mark there, and that's how the whole music career progressed from California. And then I reached a point, man, where I was moving so fast. I don't even remember certain years in California. I try to think back and go, well, where was I, man? In 2008, what happened?
Right.
And I can't really recollect. So when that happened, I said, I got to get out of here and just it's time to slow down.
Right.
And so moved back to my roots, and not quite New York, but my wife's family is from Connecticut, and my father-in-law passed away. So I said, you know what? We came out here to visit everybody, and literally woke up one morning and said, I'm not going to go back.
Cool.
So we stayed and just had to get rid of all of the stuff that you build up after 22 years on the West Coast, and I'm an East Coast guy now. Now I don't, I nothing against the West Coast, but I dig the East. I like the seasons, all that stuff. So it's cool, man.
Cool. So what originally made you go into music? Because, like in the early days in the 80s, you had Phaze and you had Killerhit and stuff like that. And, when I was reading about like your background and stuff, even back then, it seemed like you were going to take off right away and be successful. So why did you go into music?
Well, thanks, man. Good question. I was laser focused. It all started because my brother Joey, who was in Hardline with me, is 5.5 years older than me. Mm-hmm. So, anyone who has an older sibling, most of the time you want to do what they're doing. Well, he had a little high school band kind of thing, and I just thought it was the coolest thing ever. And how I actually learned to play. So my brother and I, we're serious. Whatever we do, we become very serious and focused on it. And he had this little band, and they would practice in our basement in Pennsylvania. We moved out of New York, moved to Pennsylvania, and I watched behind the drummer. Can you imagine this? My computer's making noise at me here. Sorry, everybody. So they rehearsed every single night, and I sat on our stairs and watched this drummer, and that's how I learned how to play drums. Every single night, man, I watched and watched and watched this guy. So it was my brother and that group that, a little guy like me at the time. I was, how old was I? 10 years old.
Right.
I had to do what my brother was doing.
Right, yeah.
So he really inspired me. And what inspired him was going to his first Kiss concert in '76.
Wow.
So he said, "Oh, I want to do that. That's what I want to do." Started a little band. I watched him. The drummer got sick. Brian is wild. The drummer got sick, and they had a gig, some little high school gig or something. I said to my brother, I said, "Joey, I can play the drums. I can do it. I know every song." He goes, "What, are you kidding?" I said, "No, man, I can do it." So he called all the guys down, and I did it. I knew all the songs. I played, and they ended up firing this poor guy.
Wow.
And I became the drummer. So I started touring. I was 11 years old when I started touring professionally, and since that time, I said, this is what I'm going to do. and nothing is going to get in my way. So when my friends were playing with Tonka toys and whatever they were doing, I was on the road playing, and I don't regret 1 second of it.
Wow, and it's that's a fantastic story, and a lot of people can learn from that and stuff like that. But even talking to you today, even before the interview, it seemed like we had a real good rapport. How do you keep a level head in music? Man, well, thank you, and I first of all I appreciate the compliment. Because I indulge in the people, I don't indulge in myself. There's a lot of musicians. I came up hard in this business, man. It's a little difficult to explain, but I'll try to do my best. West Coast musicians. Nothing against West Coast musicians at all. The guys in the Sunset Strip, look, Guns N' Roses and Poison, all these guys. And I know all these guys, so I can talk badly about them. They get thrown into a situation where they go to a club and the lights exist, the PA exists, and they plug in and they do their show, and that's it. Right.
East Coast musician, these clubs, they did not have this equipment. You had to buy it. You had to earn it. You had to buy it. You had to build it. It had to blow up. You had to fix it. You had to run. You set up your own PA. You set up your own lights. Lights blew out. You plug. It was a different sort of upbringing musically, and that itself was extremely grounding. So where I came from, man, it was not that those other guys didn't work hard. Don't get me wrong. But it was, for me, a very trying and difficult and, type of coming up in the industry. So I always respected it, and I always told myself that one day when we use the cliche, make it, I'm never going to regret. I'm never going to take those moments, for granted, because I know how hard it was to accomplish it. And even when we got, we had a big deal on MCA with Hardline. It was, $8-9 million record deal. And I used to tell my wife, who was girlfriend at the time, we need to thank God every single day, because this is like hitting the lottery. Now, I've worked hard, but this doesn't happen. There's a lot of talent out there. There's a lot of incredible musicians that don't get this opportunity, and I need to be thankful. So that's how I stay grounded. And the people, the fans, man, the fans are who make you. Without them, you're nothing, man. You're just another voice. You're just another song. So, I don't take a Facebook post for granted, or some kind words from, someone at a show. And that's what I'm all about. I'm extremely grateful, man.
Cool. Because I was watching a little bit of Firefest, the live footage that was on YouTube this morning and stuff like that. And it looks like you're just out there having a ball, and really enjoying yourself with the fans. So I
totally.
I appreciate that kind of stuff. When instead of you hear about Axl, one song walks off, Sebastian Bach, one song walks off. These people are paying the bills, and I guess everybody gets aggravated once in a while, but I think for them guys a little bit, it happens a little bit too much,
Yeah, but I'll be honest with you, I've kicked plenty of monitors in my life.
Right.
I've yelled at a few, side stage guys in my life, but it's true, man. Sometimes, you're not feeling 100%.
Right.
But in this business, these people, some of the people, and especially in these trying economic times, these people the fans have paid a lot of money to see this show. It may be the only spare money they had. And before I go on stage, if I'm not feeling well, I remind myself how hard those people work to get in that audience.
Right.
And so I pump myself up and say, I've got to do this. I'll never forget, man, funny story. In Chicago, we played a show in Chicago in Hardline back in the early 90s, and we didn't have any airplay. It was horrible. It was a horrible market for us. And a particular club. I can't remember what the name of the club was. We were doing a club tour at the time, headlining club tour, and no one showed up. And these people, this club owner and his wife paid a lot of money, man. I don't even want to tell you how much, but a lot of money for this Hardline show.
Right.
And there was like no one in that audience. And I can still picture this today, Brian. I can see the husband and the wife sitting in a like a front table kind of thing.
Right.
And I said, I'm going to kick ass for these people like I'm playing the Palace of Auburn Hills in Detroit for 55,000 people.
Wow.
And I did. So that's the mentality I try to keep all the time.
Wow. Now, back in the day compared to now, what was more difficult, you think, for a new band starting? You know, back then, at least you had clubs. Now you don't really have a club to play anymore. You get no radios, but you do got internet. So in your mind, what do you think is easier for a new band, being back in the day or today's music?
Oh man, good question. I think you have, if you're smart socially, I think you have a much better chance of getting noticed now through the internet, through all the social activity.
Right.
Back then, man, it was difficult, to try to get a record deal. The cassette tape at the time had to pass the record company executive's secretary first.
Right.
She better like you first. If
Right.
she didn't like you, it wasn't going forward.
Wow.
It was just a lot more controlled, know. And today it's more free. And, so I think it's a little bit easier today.
Right.
And it's also easier for a new artist to, make some revenue, make some money, create their music now from using Pro Tools and, home recording stuff. And you don't need a big fancy studio, and you can publish yourself on iTunes. And so, I don't know, I just think there's much more freedom today than there was back in the day. It was hard back then, man.
Cool. Now, you got a solo album coming out on Pledge Music. I guess it's going to be released in the summer. And some of the funds are going to, like, children's charity, which I can appreciate because I work with autistic children. So tell me a little bit about the solo release.
Yeah, so, after 30-plus years, I'm an old guy in the music business, I decide, it's time that I, become, it's time now that I use my own creative juices. And, everyone knows that I'm involved in Hardline, and I wrote, 95% of that music. But ARP I do not, Crush 40 I do, just lyrically and melodically, but I just wanted something that's just me,
right?
And so, here comes the first Johnny solo record, and I always thought it was a little egotistical for a singer to do a solo record, but this isn't about ego. This is about creativity, and I just want to have fun,
right?
And do it. So I thought to myself, did some research. What's the best way to reach my fans, and the fans of this music? And that's when I discovered Pledge Music. I thought, this is the coolest platform ever, because I can connect with the people, the fans. I can, they can help fund the record and help fund the charity. And I'll tell you a little bit about the charity. And they can see the process. Back in the day, man, it was top secret. Did you know where Van Halen was recording? No one knew. No one knew. They didn't know when they were doing it. They didn't know where, how. So this was an opportunity to sort of uncover, how we do this, have the fans participate in the making of it, and have them have some ownership to it. And that's really what this is about. This is a record for everyone. A record. See how old I am? A record. This is a CD or a download for everyone to participate in. So, and then I thought, I've got to give back. And a charity that's really, dear to my heart is we had a family friend who dove into the Long Island Sound. He hit a rock. His name is Joe Barber. He hit a rock, and he is paralyzed from the chest down. And he is rehabilitating. Don't know if he's going to get full mobility back, but it hit home, and this family needs financial help.
Right.
And it's home. I mean, there's a million charities, as we know, but this one is in my backyard. I said, I've got to do something.
Right.
So, yes, I'm donating to them to help them. Rehabilitation in his lifetime will be over $8 million.
Wow.
It's amazing, man. So we had, they outfitted the house to accommodate a wheelchair. He's back in school, but it's still, every day it's like he tries to move a finger.
Right.
And we take all that stuff for granted. I said, no, I've got to help. So this whole thing is just it's a whole product of love sharing and creation all at the same time.
Right. Now, with all the other things you have going on, how often do you actually get to work on your solo album?
You'll be surprised, man. I've got I also own a lot of companies and I have my family, so I'm busy.
Right.
But you'd be surprised at what time creativity strikes. At the most, I've written so many great bathroom songs. You can't even imagine what you can write when you're sitting on the throne.
Yeah, I heard it's got a great acoustic in there. Yeah.
Great acoustics in there, and you just, I don't know, that's my time. You shut the door, no one's allowed to enter.
Uh-huh.
And, no, I make the time to do it. And the cool thing about creativity is it happens just like that.
Right.
For me. I can't sit down and say, okay, everybody, leave me alone from 7 o'clock to 9 o'clock. I'm going to work on the CD album. It doesn't work. Right. It doesn't work like that on a CD.
Wow.
So it happens throughout the day. I get melody ideas, I get lyrical ideas, and stuff like that. So that's how it happens.
Cool. How many songs you expect to be on this?
There's going to be at least 11, but I'm getting such great feedback. I put out on Facebook that I'd like to do, a few remakes and give me your suggestions, and I'm getting such really cool, like, hey, John, you should remake a Queen song. And I went, wow, yes.
Yeah.
Or even, Johnny, try to remake make an acoustic version of a Zeppelin song I'm like, wow, wait a minute, that's pretty cool. So I may consider putting a few more, a couple cover tunes on there.
Right.
On the album too.
Cool. And people could hear a little bit, a couple snippets on that Pledge Music site for you, right? Can you tell the people what the name of the site is that what they could go to?
Yes. Yeah, they can go to pledgemusic.com /Johnny Gioeli. And I know that last name is brutal, man. It's Gioeli. Try living with that. So it's pledgemusic.com /Johnny Gioeli, and then you can see, the cool thing is there's exclusives for everyone, so there's like gifts.
Right.
So when you donate, you get something, and we put up stuff all the time. I just, anything from, room keys from Sega to Hardline exclusive T-shirts, and I can't part with my brunette and my original Phaze T-shirts yet. I mean, I'm having a hard time with that.
Right.
But I am putting up some of my own, collection of things from my career. It's more important that the fans have it than I have it. I've enjoyed these things, and so it's cool. Oh, and the other thing that we're doing, which is really neat, and I'm excited to do this, the world of technology, is I'm putting on an acoustic, a streamed acoustic show. It's one of the exclusives. It's going to happen in, oh God,
May 14th.
I think we're doing this in. Yes, thank you.
I did all my research. I did my research.
May 14th, and I think we're doing it at 5 p.m. That I know, so we can reach our European audience and just try to make some common time. But and that's going to be streamed right from my home.
Uh-huh.
It's going to be about an hour of acoustic stuff and live, and it's just a way for everyone to hear some of the tunes and just play and just put on a little show and have some fun right from the home.
Cool. Now, before you go on stage, you have any kind of ritual or warm-up or something to eat or anything you could tell me about?
I do, yes. I put on a sequined jock strap, and I run 4 times around. No, I'm kidding. I don't do that. For me, since I'm I'm into fitness,
right?
My warm up is really important. So I have a vocal warm up for sure. That's about 30 to 40 minutes,
right?
And then I listen to Shine Down. I listen to Breaking Benjamin, 3 Days Grace. I listen to heavier kind of music in my ears to pump up.
Right.
And I am like sweating before I go on stage. But as far as food, I don't eat before I go on. I eat about 4 to 5 hours before a show,
right,
and nothing.
Wow.
Otherwise it's there could be some nastiness coming up on stage.
Wow.
But yeah, so my ritual really is just my warm up is really important to me, right, and I need that alone time to mentally prepare, because I try to give 120%.
Right.
I try anyway.
Right. Hardline is also coming out with a new album too, right, at the end of the year?
Yes. I leave also. So I'm off. I have a tour coming up with Axel Rudy Pell, which Axel was sick with the flu, so we pushed the tour back 1 week, and that tour now starts around April 8th, I think it is, 8th or 9th. Right. Maybe Brian, when my tour starts. No, I'm kidding. But I've got that, and when I return around the 22nd, 23rd, 24th of April, I go back to Europe, to Italy, to finish the Hardline CD, cut a video. We have photo shoots. All that's going to happen in May. And by that time, and then I will finish up the solo album too. So the solo album, because of the production schedule, we're going to release that. We're shooting for September.
Right.
So we're going to finish that up in the summer. So I've got my work cut out. But I love it.
Wow.
I love it.
Well, what's the feeling like when, say you're on the tour bus and you see like 50 to 100 or whatever amount of people just waiting for you to come out just to get an autograph, and you give that autograph? What's that feeling like?
It's a feeling that I can't even describe, man. It's even after all the years I've been doing this, I can't believe it. I really can't. Sometimes the lines are wrapped around buildings. I'm like, wait a minute, that's for me?
Right.
Why? Why is that for me?
Wow.
It's really cool, and I'll never forget, man. It's a short story. When our record deal with Hardline was finished with MCA, because the whole grunge thing came in, and it was just a difficult time for the band. I didn't worry about the money at all. I didn't worry about that. That was like, oh my God, how am I going to make money? It wasn't about that.
Right.
My worry was, oh my God, are people going to know who I am?
Right.
Am I gonna hear that sound when the lights go off and you're playing a 20, 30, 40,000 seater, and the lights go off and you hear that,
yeah.
You hear that sound, man, that is pure oxygen in your blood. And my fear was I was never going to hear that sound again. It freaked me out. I needed therapy after that. So when I see these people lined up and they're waiting for an autograph, I sign everything I possibly can. I spend as much time as I can with the people because I'm grateful, man.
Right.
I don't want that to ever stop.
Right, yeah. Wow. Well, what's your feelings, about the world today with all the turmoil that's happening and stuff like that? We're going for a new president, and, what does anything go through your mind, or you just don't care and you just want to do your music?
No, of course I love this country, and I have young kids, and I'm concerned.
Yeah.
I watch this nonsense and these debates, and I shake my head and go, I can't believe this is happening. I can't believe these things are being said.
Right.
I can't believe this. It's just what have I brought my kids into?
I think the same.
Really. Yeah, it's scary, man. And, there was a time when, we're still a powerful country, don't get me wrong, but there was a time not too long ago that we were very, very respected.
Right.
And when I would tour Europe and Asia, people were proud to know that and excited to know that I was an American. And now, man, I got to be honest with you, when I go overseas,
right,
of course, when I'm playing my shows, it's different. But if I go over, I'm quiet, man. I don't tell anyone. If I don't talk, they don't know I don't speak the language. I don't say anything.
Right.
Because we're not respected. We lost that power, and we lost that credibility. We lost that value. It's because we've got these idiots that are running for president that are saying all kinds of nonsense, and it's just devaluing our country, and the rest of the world is laughing at us. We're laughable.
Yep.
So something's got to happen, man. It's got to happen for my kids. You know, we've got to get this. We got to get this together.
Right.
We need some. We need some poise. We need some poise in office. Someone who's going to fix some things. These terrorist acts. My family's scared out of their minds for me to leave next week.
Yeah,
they're
I bet
scared.
You are. Yeah, I bet you.
They're very scared. And I said, but that can't. You know, you can't. That can't stop progress. That can't stop what we do. And it's, you know, it's, I'm a religious guy. It's in God's hands, and I gotta go take care of the people too.
Right.
You know, I've got to play my music.
I mean, I looking at the candidates. I don't even know who to pick. You know.
Yeah, it's brutal.
It's
brutal.
You know, scary either way. You know.
Yeah.
But
it's brutal. It's brutal, man. I usually don't talk politics, but I got to tell you, man, it's a scary lineup. You know, there's one person in particular. I won't mention any names, but there's some experience there, and I think at this point, I know our country wants to get a little. You know, they want to go a little outside the box.
Right.
But our government is very structured and controlled, and that power to go outside the box just does not exist the way things are set now.
Right.
So the best we could do is bring in someone there with, you know, at least experience and understands the process.
Right.
And, you know, try to keep us safe.
Definitely.
So, I don't know, man. It's brutal. I think I may run. I'm going to jump
Go
in.
ahead. You're a good guy. You're a good guy.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
Come on.
Do it up. I'm voting for you.
Thanks, man. All right, I got one vote. I'm running for president.
There you go. There you go, man. Johnny, man, Hardline. Excellent interview. I really enjoyed myself, to tell you the truth. I haven't enjoyed, an interview like this in a long time because of the rapport between us both. I wish you the best and God bless. Would you like to say anything to the fans out there?
Hey, always, man. I want to thank everyone sincerely from the heart and soul for always standing behind me, supporting my music, all the social activity back and forth. Keep it coming. I love everybody. I love making music. I especially love when my music affects you in a certain way, and every song can mean something different to each and every one of you. And so I hope I'm throwing good positive vibes out there through my music. God bless everyone. Be safe, and God bless the country here.
Thanks a lot, Johnny, man.
You got it. Brian, we'll talk again sometime, man. Let's check back.
Definitely. Thanks.
All right.